When I first saw Palworld's trailer a little over a month before it came out in January, I was convinced that it'd be some shitty game that tried knocking off Pokemon just by adding guns. But then I saw it was available for free on Game Pass, so I thought it couldn't hurt to give it a try. Playing Palworld since that moment up until now, I've realized just how wrong I was about this game. This game is seriously deep, with a ton of unique systems. Today, we're going to take an in-depth look at Palworld, what it does right, what could be improved, and what's kept me coming back to this game for months. So on the surface, the gameplay looks very similar to what Pokemon is. The main gameplay loop does involve just capturing pals that you find out in the world using these spheres called Pal Spheres. Like Pokemon, these spheres have a tier system. The better the sphere, the easier it is to catch the pal. The system is insanely similar to Pokemon, right down to some of the pals looking almost identical to some of the Pokemons. But there are a few key differences that should be noted. So, unlike Pokemon's turn-based combat, you fight these pals in real time with guns, bows, crossbows, and spears, and once they get low enough in health, you're able to catch them easier, or you can just straight up kill them if you want to. I really enjoy this form of combat as it allows for you to take an active role in capturing the pal, and also allows the pals you have in your party, which is basically your Pokédex, to help you out in combat. So like Pokemon though, you can only have one pal at a time help you out unless you've crafted special items that you can equip to have an extra pal at your side at all times. This adds great nuance to the overall capturing system in my opinion, and it kept me engaged at all times. It also helps that there's an insane amount of pals to capture, all located in different parts of the map, with new ones being added during the updates. You have plenty of pals to capture, and capturing the same ones over and over is also useful as it gives you extra resources that are used in crafting and extra XP for hitting certain milestones. So another thing that's really cool about the pal system overall is that Palworld goes an extra mile for interacting with your pals, as they can be used at your home base to help you with tasks around the base. Whether it's building something, farming, mining ore, transporting materials, pals can help you with that, and in some cases, they can also be the only way you can complete certain tasks on base. For example, if you're trying to farm berries, you need a pal that has a watering ability to be able to water the berries so that they can grow. You can't do that as the player character. You have to have a pal on your base that can do that. Other abilities that are pretty useful are like the mining ability or the gathering ability, and some pals that have opposable thumbs also have a transporting ability where they can pick things up and transport them to different areas. The main thing to remember though is that each pal type only has a certain amount of set skills that they can do, and that's based on the type of pal that they are. So this really does incentivize you to go back out into the world and find new pals that have better stats that can do more things on base at a faster rate. One thing that I will say is slightly annoying is that when you're trying to capture a pal and you get it low enough in health to where you can capture it, sometimes your deployed pal will attack them and kill them before you have a chance to throw your pal sphere at it. While this is annoying and slightly frustrating in the wild, this issue becomes insanely frustrating when you're fighting a boss and your pal accidentally kills it. I wish there was some sort of pal down state where if you get it low enough in health, the pal gets downed and the pals in your party stop attacking it and give you a chance to try and capture it. This also then gives you an option to finish killing the pal if you don't want to waste a pal sphere on it and just want the resources it drops. So yeah, I mean overall, this is where Palworld really does shine. The act of catching pals, bringing them to your base, expanding that base, and then using those pals on your base is a gameplay loop that is really addicting. Not to compare it to Pokemon too much, but this is where Pokemon has been lacking in its gameplay loop for decades now. They have the system of catching the Pokemon and then battling with them, and it's turn-based combat, but the lack of depth outside of that is where Palworld really capitalizes on the system and takes it to the next level. There's obviously some slight annoyances here and there, but overall the system is surprisingly fleshed out for an early access game, and they're adding new pals and new bosses, and that will only expand the system even more and make it better. So the next main system that you're going to interact with is your player character's progression. This is done through two systems that work together to progress the player throughout the game. So the first system is a relatively basic XP system. You gain XP by capturing and killing pals, crafting things on your base, mining and gathering materials. When you level up, you earn technology points that you can spend on new technologies associated with that level, but you'll learn more about that in a bit. Leveling up also gives you a stat enhancer point that you can use to upgrade your health, attack, defense, working speed, or stamina. Your pals also have a separate XP system, and they have a level that's pretty closely associated with yours. Pals earn XP primarily by fighting other pals in the wild, and when they level up, all it really does is give them an attack and defense stat buff. Unlike Pokemon, however, there's no evolution system, so the pal that you're going to capture is the pal you will have forever, and they'll just get better stats over time if you decide to keep them in your party and fight with them in the world. Like I mentioned earlier, one thing that will never level up with your pal is the level of their working stats. This is species specific. So for example, all Tanazes have level 1 lumbering, and that cannot be upgraded or increased in any way. The only way to get a level 2 lumberer is to get a pal with a better lumbering stack and to find that different species in the wild. So yeah, I mean overall the XP system is fine. It's nothing special, it's pretty basic. PAL leveling, however, I think is extremely basic, and I hope that they can find a way to flesh that out more as time goes on. Just a simple attack and a defense buff I don't think is enough to level up the PAL. I think they need to find something new that they can add, maybe new abilities, whatever it is, just to incentivize keeping PALs in your party and leveling them up. So, like I mentioned earlier, the other system that you're going to be progressing through is by using technology points. You get a good chunk of them when you level up, but you can also get them by finding fast travel points across the map. These fast travel points are pretty generous. There's a lot around the map, and you get one technology point each time. So every time you go out and explore, chances are you're going to find 2 to 3 fast travel points, and you're going to get 2 to 3 technology points, which is a great way to earn them. These technology points are used to get better items and structures that will help you in combat, mining, and at your base as you level up. What I really like about this system is that you will never have enough technology points to get everything you really want whenever you level up. So this introduces a lot of strategy on what's most important to you, what weapons you may want, or if you want to indulge in a new system on your base. And this also causes you to backtrack to a lot of items from lower levels if you ever want to engage in those systems later. On the other side of this, it allows you to really prioritize which of Palworld's many systems you may want to engage with. This also helps you not get too overwhelmed with the crazy amount of items that there are to craft and the different systems that are being thrown at you, and you having to decide what's really important. And to add on to this, the beginning tutorial is really helpful in the sense that it basically tells you what items you should focus on up until you get to the first boss, which is the Rain Syndicate Tower. Obviously, you don't have to follow it at all, and you can spend your technology points on whatever you want and just focus on the systems that you really care about. But for the newcomers that aren't really experienced in Palworld, this is a really helpful tool to help them feel not as overwhelmed. So the last player progression system that's somewhat important but not front and center is ancient technology points. These are only earned by beating bosses, and they can be spent on items that they have deemed ancient technology, quote unquote. While this isn't interesting in the sense that you have another progression system to get through, and this one does take a lot longer, the items you get from them aren't that different from the ones you get from the regular technology tree. For example, like the egg incubator is cool, as you can now use eggs that you find in the wild to hatch various pals, but that isn't that interesting. This could easily have been another item on the regular technology tree, and it wouldn't have stood out in the slightest. Same thing with the small feed bag. If you equip the feed bag in your inventory and place food in it, your character and the pals in your party will automatically consume food if their hunger is low. Again, I mean, it's cool, but it's nothing that's that much more special than anything in the regular technology tree. There are a couple of items that do make a difference and are special, but the vast majority are pretty basic and they don't really offer anything that much more special. I hope that in the future, the devs add items in the ancient technology tree that really make a difference and, more importantly, feel different and more special than the items that are in the regular technology tree. So we've talked about the PAL system, we've talked about the player progression. The last main system that is prevalent throughout the game are the various survival elements that are present. These present themselves in a hunger system, carry weight system, and tool degradation system. So first, let's talk about the hunger system. In my opinion, this system is straight ripped from Minecraft, but it serves even less of a purpose than it did in Minecraft. In Minecraft, you at least need food to be able to regain health that you've lost. In Palworld, the hunger system really only serves to annoy you. You need to constantly feed your pals in your party and your player character when you're out in the world. On top of that, the pals that are currently working on your base also need to eat. You could use berries you find out in the wild or farm them too, but they don't increase your hunger bar as much as other items that you can cook with different meats and things that you find on pals that you capture or kill. Again, I feel like this is a system that's really only there to annoy you and have you divert your attention from the things that you actually want to do. And what I think is really funny about this is, like I mentioned earlier, one of the first items you're able to get when you have enough ancient technology points is the small feed bag, which essentially automates this system for you. So why are you going to include it in the first place if you literally give a way to completely bypass the system in the first couple of hours of playing the game? That really does not make much sense to me. Carry weight is another thing that's insanely annoying in games like these. You have a fixed amount of inventory slots, but then you also have a carry weight. Usually in survival games, it's one or the other. For example, like in Minecraft or DayZ, you have a fixed amount of inventory slots that you have to fit your items into. But in games like Fallout or other RPGs, you have an inventory weight, but you have unlimited slots. In my opinion, inventory weight is one of the most annoying systems in gaming. All it does is annoy the fuck out of you without providing any benefit to the player. So the last survival system that is, again, kind of straight ripped out of Minecraft is the tool degradation system. Again, this is pretty straightforward, where the more you use a certain tool or weapon, the more it degrades. These tools and weapons can be repaired at a repair bench with materials that you find out in the wild. You can also unlock better tools that degrade slower, but require better materials to be able to repair them. Again, like I said, the system is pretty straightforward and isn't anything too special. It's probably the least annoying of the survival systems, since it isn't always actively in your face trying to take you out of what you actually want to do. And so all this really leads me to say that out of all the various systems in Palworld, the survival elements are by far the most annoying and least fleshed out. All of them are kind of straight ripped from other games and really only serve to annoy you without adding much immersion, which tends to be the reason why games like these add systems like these. I think if you could find a way to make the hunger system more fleshed out, where having low hunger actually impacts you in a way that incentivizes you to have better food items that fill up your hunger bar more, and maybe even provide certain gameplay boosts. And, like I said, the tool degradation system is fine. It's nothing special, and I think it's fine if they keep that in the game. But I do genuinely think that they should absolutely get rid of the carry weight system. You already have a limited amount of inventory slots. All you have to do is make it so that the material stacks are not infinite and that you have a certain max amount that you can have in each stack, like in Minecraft, and it would completely fix the problem. So at this point, I've talked pretty in depth about all the various systems that Palworld has to offer, and I think it's fair to say I like the game a lot. This game borrows a fair bit from other games in its genre, but combined definitely provides a very solid and deep game with many systems on offer that will keep you busy for hours on end. And, while good systems make a good game, they don't necessarily make an addicting one that keeps players engaged for months and even years. However, I think Palworld has that addicting element as well, and it's the same something that has kept Pokemon relevant for decades on end. The main gameplay loop of exploring the huge, varied, and gorgeous map, capturing fun and interesting pals, and then using those pals in huge battles to capture other pals is something that can be played to no end. There are honestly an insane amount of pals to capture that are spread out throughout the different regions of the maps. And it's honestly insanely impressive that there are already this many unique pals present in an early access game. In my opinion, Palworld has mastered the art of the subtle live service. It's not in your face with stupid, meaningless microtransactions and a battle pass that gives you random cosmetics that you can add to your game. But it does have live service elements where they matter the most, the content. Just take a look at the new update. The devs have added a gorgeous new region to the game with new weapons and, best of all, new pals to capture and use in battle and on your base. What more could you really ask from an update? The devs can theoretically keep this up for forever as well, adding more regions and technologies to unlock, systems as well, for as long as they want to support the game. I mean, the game is technically only in early access, and that's apparent in some ways with this insanely janky enemy AI and underbaked survival systems, but at the same time, there are good bones to the game with major potential for fleshed out, deep systems. I can only hope that the devs continue supporting the game like they have, because the fan base for this type of game is there, and they are hungry for more Palworld. Either way, thanks so much for watching, everyone. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you enjoyed the video. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to me ramble about Palworld. But yeah, thank you guys so much. It's been CGG. I'm out.